Hello, Bill Sell here with EXHIBITOR.TV. We're about halfway through the show and lots going on. We began last night with the welcome reception and great coverage about face-to-face marketing.
Well, trade shows are right down the middle of the plate in terms of business-to-business experiences. I mean, people pay an admission fee to exhibit, and people pay an admission fee to go attend it. So it's a perfect platform for thinking about experience design and experience thinking. And what I love about this show is there's always new people here seeking to learn, and I learned as much being here as I do teaching. Today, I can't tell you the gems I got from my participants in my sessions. Just a wonderful symbiotic relationship.
I think contacts in business are better as personal contacts than email or text or contacts through friends or whatever. Just personal contacts I think are the best for business.
I worked for a company who I did all of their trade shows, and I was actually a customer of Skyline exhibits, and was going to look at a new job, and back of the Exhibitor magazine was flipped open and Skyline had advertised, and I looked them up, which they're actually local in Minnesota, so I applied and I've been working for them for 2 years.
I started coming to Exhibitor at the suggestion, actually the insistence of my manager at the time. She knew Exhibitor, this is where she came for her design ideas, and she said, shortly after I accepted the position, she said, and you're going to want to go to an Exhibitor show.
I'm a salesperson, so face-to-face is where I can definitely start to make that impression, look a person in the eye, and really kind of ask them those questions. When you're working with someone over the phone, you're trying to get to that same point, but it's a little bit more difficult because there's not that same kind of interaction, interpersonal reaction. It's nice to be able to come to this type of event and maybe run into somebody that you need to talk to, or maybe you're trying to talk to. I've had pretty good success at this particular event, just finding people who I want to talk to, who I'm probably not going to see on the show floor.
The EDPA Breakfast kicked off Tuesday morning here at Exhibitor 2014, and we sent Sarah Larrabee from EXHIBITOR.TV there to talk about this important association.
Now in its second year here at Exhibitor, the Exhibit Designers and Producers Association held its second annual breakfast, and we had the chance to catch up with some of the attendees on the importance of the networking and collaboration between the EDPA and Exhibitor.
In general, what we're doing is trying to serve the industry, the builders, the experiential, the event people in the industry, and trying to provide a platform for them for advocacy and education, and also goodwill too. We have an EDPA foundation, and that sparks goodwill back to the industry.
Most of the stuff that drives us are customers, and they were speaking more about wanting to travel, do their business across the world, and so we had to figure out how we were going to meet their needs. And that was when we started to see a need as EDPA to create an international chapter with groups of people that wanted to do networking, do business together.
It's been absolutely wonderful. We've done our company's international, the share of work that we do internationally has really grown. In America, exceptionally so, because of the excellent network we have. We can really deliver to our European clients more than what companies can that don't have that network behind them.
The EDPA is the association for this industry, and we've supported it for a number of years for a number of reasons, educational content primarily, and when you combine that with the Exhibitor show, it's the only show of its kind for us here in the United States, and it gives us a chance to meet with all of our customers, meet with new prospects, show some of the new things that were first introduced at EuroShop this year.
Another focus of this meeting is to connect industry professionals with the new generation of exhibit designers.
I think what EDPA has done is made an amazing connection between the professional community and the students in order to prepare them for how are you going to interview, how do you connect with companies, what do companies look for. It actually helps me as a design director because the ramp-up time for students is a little bit less, or for entry-level people is less than it would be with somebody who has completely no connection to the professional community. As a prospective employer of the new blood, the next generation that's coming into the industry, I think it's been a huge success.
And with EXHIBITOR.TV, I'm Sarah Larrabee.
EXHIBITOR Magazine has made its name staying on top of trends and new issues in the industry. And we had a chance to sit down with Editor-in-Chief Travis Stanton to see what's hot in 2014.
It's very important to us that our readers are aware of what's happening in the industry. They have the opportunity to attend shows within their industry sector and see what they're doing and what their competitors are doing, but we have the ability to attend anywhere from 25 to 50 trade shows every year, representing a number of different industry sectors and covering events all over the globe. In the past 6 weeks, we've been to the International Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, to Euroshop in Dusseldorf, Germany, and also to Mobile World Congress in Barcelona, and then of course here at Exhibitor 2014 in Las Vegas. Thanks to globalization, we're seeing the world become a smaller and smaller place, and country borders don't mean what they used to. We used to see trends take hold in a specific geographic region, but they might not leave that geographic region. It might be something that happens in Europe but never quite makes its way to the United States, outside of European companies that are coming to the US to exhibit. But now trends are much more fluid. What we see in Germany is what we see in Spain, and then it does eventually make its way into the United States. We're seeing a lot of trends in terms of material finishes, and specifically we're seeing a lot of unfinished wood, a lot of faux concrete, stone, metal, that type of thing. It's a really versatile, all of those are really versatile materials. They can communicate a rustic vibe, they can communicate a contemporary vibe, and there's something very authentic about those materials. And I think that's what's the cohesive thread that's tying a lot of those trends together is rustic, textural, and authenticity. Another trend we're seeing a lot of is hand-drawn graphics, or graphics that have that hand-drawn feel to them, because they're very authentic, and they're an interesting departure from the clean lines that we were seeing a few years ago. From a design perspective, there's a lot of interesting trends in materials. Exhibitors are really intrigued by lightweight structures, so we're seeing a lot of fabric still, paper architecture, cardboard architecture, and these materials being used in really inventive ways. The interesting thing, in addition, is that we're seeing the organic shapes that used to be really popular, especially with fabric architecture, being replaced by angular, straight-line, faceted, and geodesic structures. What's interesting is that exhibitors are using fabric architecture, but in a way that appears to be hard-walled architecture. And so they still get the space, the structure, the grandeur and the presence of hard-walled architecture and the permanence of hard-walled architecture, but they're getting it with significantly less weight, and that's saving the money on drayage, on installation and dismantle, and on shipping. And the same can be said for paper and cardboard architecture. At Euroshop in particular, I saw cardboard being used in really innovative ways, and I think you'll continue to see those lightweight materials make a splash on the trade show floor. Technology is manifesting itself in an interesting way in exhibits. We're seeing a lot of audiovisual technology, a lot of lighting technology, and we're seeing a lot of projection technology being used in exhibit spaces. In terms of other technologies, we've seen them kind of dying down a little bit. QR codes were huge for a while. Augmented reality was really exciting and seemingly offered a lot of possibilities for exhibitors. And the problem that I see on the trade show floor is that exhibitors are incorporating these technologies, but they're doing so in kind of sloppy ways. I see a lot of tablet interactive activities, but they're not being staffed appropriately, or the technology isn't functioning appropriately. And so I think you'll continue to see exhibitors explore technology, but what they need to keep in mind is that they need to be deploying it in a way that enhances the experience and does not replace the face-to-face interaction that should be taking place in exhibits. It's very, very common for exhibitors to focus on one area alone. And a lot of exhibitors do focus solely on exhibit design, and they build these beautiful structures, but there's no experience inside of them. Another big mistake that we see exhibitors making is constructing these elaborate, expensive exhibits, but then not training the staffers inside of their booth spaces. And so people come in and they're not being engaged by booth staffers, and if they are, that engagement isn't optimized. It's not providing the value that it could for those exhibiting companies. And so what exhibitors really need to do is never forget that there are a number of different balls in the air, and they need to be thinking about their exhibit design, the experience that attendees are having inside of their exhibit spaces, the conversations that are going on, how trained their booth staff really is, and then making sure that that experience is all gelling together so that they get what they came there for. We're looking for trends, and we're looking for things that work. And one of the ways that we identify what's working is what's attracting attention on the trade show floor, because that's, after all, a core objective for most exhibitors, is to attract attention, to attract eyeballs, because that's going to generate some brand awareness for them. But then beyond that, it's what's happening inside of the exhibits. Once that exhibitor has attracted attendees, what are they doing with them? What's the experience, and how are they promoting their brand and selling their products? And so initially when we're out on the trade show floor, we're looking for what's hot, what people are talking about, and then beyond that, what's the substance beyond the promotion or the sizzle that attracts them to the exhibit space. I think no matter what profession you're in, you need to use the resources that are available to you. And EXHIBITOR Magazine is certainly a resource for exhibit and event professionals, but you need to use that resource. You need to really devour that content, because you're going to stay on the cutting edge of the industry by being up to date on what's happening at shows well outside of your industry sector and outside of your geographic boundaries. In addition, we're launching our new digital magazine here at EXHIBITOR 2014, and it's a fantastic resource because no matter where you are in the world, you can stay up to date on EXHIBITOR Magazine's content. And the digital magazine offers a lot of enhanced experiences for the reader, videos that better illustrate technologies like projection and lighting effects. But on top of that, there's additional content, additional information, and a much more immersive sort of experience for readers that will hopefully give them a much more big picture view of the industry and how they can put these trends and best practices to work for them.
And in closing, we're here Tuesday evening for the first annual EXHIBITOR Magazine Awards, where they're honoring excellence in the industry.
This awards night is a long time coming. We've been celebrating excellence in the industry in the pages of EXHIBITOR Magazine for years, but we've never brought it to life. And these guys work day in and day out tirelessly to create great work for their clients, and we want to celebrate that, where we can all finally be together away from the desk and say, we did awesome work. And by showcasing the awesome work, we can actually make everybody better, because we're all competitive. We want to do as well as or better than the competition that's out there. So by showcasing it, we can elevate the effectiveness of the industry and the design integration into how they do the corporate marketing mix.
The industry is full of really creative, really competent people that even though we recognize them in a variety of award programs in print and online, we don't ever do it in public, in front of their peers, in front of their bosses, in front of potential clients. So it's an opportunity to recognize them, and I think a really important format and an important way.
Stay tuned for our coverage in the coming days.